Join my homie Dan at Enzyme333 and I as we go into raw food and extreme sports.
Welcome to day 9 of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle Lives Extravaganza. We have like less than 3.5 days left of this amazing deal. I'm excited to bring on my brother from another mother, Dan Enzyme333. We're going to be going into raw food and extreme sports, athleticism, and more. It's going to be a lot of fun. I do want to remind you guys that we're both a part of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle with our brand new, never before released books, 33 in total. And it's available now until the 12th, 11:59 p.m. PST, and then it's gone for an entire year. It's different every single time. You do not have any of these resources unless you got this in the last 9 days. So I highly recommend you check it out while it's here. We get a lot of people saying, I missed it. We will not sell it afterwards. It is ridiculous. Everything goes back to its regular price, over $840 altogether at regular price. So you can grab that in Dan's profile at enzyme.333 or in mine if you like. I'm going to see, I see Dan's here. So let's bring him right. Yeah, Dan. How's it going, brother?
Pretty good. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too, man. I'm a stoked guy. I got my Wi-Fi back.
Right, you were cut off for a while. That must have been a little bit stressful during the bundle.
It was tough because I'll admit I had left a lot of the kind of social media scheduling and a couple other kind of big things for the week before. I'd like cleared space for it, and that's exactly when the internet went down. So right when I needed to be the busiest, I wasn't able to, and then because of that, I've been hotspotting, which really is slow compared to using Wi-Fi. So cha-ching, cha-ching, the last 3 days of the bundle are going to be a lot smoother, a lot easier, and I won't have to go to bed at 3 or 4 every night.
Yeah, well, the last 3 days of the bundle are great.
Yes.
It's where most of the action happens.
It's true. People get into that point where like, I want you, it's that final stages. And I always recommend people, they pull that trigger because we get a lot of people, I'm the mid behind the scenes, and we get a lot of people saying, I just missed it. I wanted to, and I forgot. Can you please sell it? And I'm sorry, we will not sell it after. That's part of the contract with all the creators. So 11:59 p.m. this Sunday, PST. That's it. So, but how you doing, man? What's going on?
Things are good. I'm actually gonna probably do some gardening in a couple hours.
Nice.
So
where at?
We've got a garden patch, an old garden patch back in our backyard, and we're gonna plant a bunch of stuff this year.
So, nice. Heck yeah, that's sweet. What are you gonna plant?
Probably lots of greens, lots of edible flowers.
Nice.
I usually don't go too hard into the root veggies and things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe get some tomato plants. Probably get a bunch.
Fresh tomatoes are so dang good, and I mean greens too. Fresh from the garden greens. Nothing beats that, and you don't have to worry about any sprays or anything like that on them then.
Yeah, probably a bunch of greens, bunch of tomatoes, all sorts of different kinds of tomatoes.
Nice. So, hey, what do you think, man? Should I play some music for us, like really lightly in the background? You down with that?
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna play one of my favorite things. It's Eminem, but Gothic style instrumental.
Oh.
You hear that?
What?
I love it. I almost swore. I almost started swearing because I like it that much. Can you hear it?
It's pretty faint. I don't know. I don't know if my volume's down on my phone here, or if I could turn it up. Okay, I'm gonna go.
There we go. People in the chat, people listening, if you can hear it, let me know. If it's too loud, let me know. If it's too quiet, let me know. But we'll rock it out here and get her going. So, Dan, for those who maybe don't know you, because I'm going to put this on my Instagram, my YouTube, my website, all that stuff, and also link our last one. But you want to give just a short kind of intro into how you got into raw food, and then we'll get into this topic. And yourself?
How I got into raw food is basically just, first and foremost, my love for animals, my love for nature. I've always loved, the big creatures, the small creatures. When I was a child, I was really obsessed with the aquatic amphibians out at the cabin. So we had a family cabin out at Pike Lake, outside Saskatoon, and basically just a big giant slough is what it is. But a lot of really, really cool animals, little reptiles and squirrels, and I always loved the frogs. The frogs were my favorite.
They're cool.
They're just such a cool animal. and just had a fascination for the animals. And yeah, so yeah, love for animals, but then just being around people that were kind of into the lifestyle too, you know.
Yeah.
I think my friend Andy Majerison was the first vegan guy that I knew.
Yeah.
And
Was that in Toon or is that in Calgary?
yeah, in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
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 Um, yeah, he follows you on Instagram, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, and I went over to Andy's house, had a vegan meal, and Andy was cooking up the best, like the most dank vegan meats. And yeah, I just had his food, and he did it up so well in such style. I was just like, oh man, you can actually, you know, get nourished, and you can make amazing vegan food. I didn't make the jump right away. I was still I was a teenager.
Yeah.
It was there's still kind of a disconnect, right? And then you hear all this, you know, bogus information about, you know, like you need animal foods or you can't get your protein or whatever. So I still didn't know if I could quite get everything I needed from the vegan the diet.
And this is the 90s, right? So it wasn't as much information out there.
Yeah, this is like in the 90s. So I didn't really have as much information on it. And it wasn't until I moved to Calgary, I think I was about 19, turning 20, moved to Calgary and made a whole new group of friends. And pretty much most of the people that I was gravitating to were all kind of into the plant-based thing. A bunch of us were doing Food Not Bombs.
Yeah.
So Food Not Bombs, for those of you guys who don't know what Food Not Bombs is, it's an organization that feeds the homeless.
Yeah.
But it's all vegan food. And basically the idea, it started in the 60s, but it was the idea that eating vegan food is just a form of non-aggression. And as an antidote to all this war we have in the world, somebody started this organization up in an effort to spread more compassion and peace into our world. And I just thought it was such a cool organization. My friends and I would all go down, I think on Sunday we'd do it, Saturday or Sunday, I forget what day we'd do it. We'd go down to Olympic Plaza in Calgary and feed all this vegan food to the homeless. So I wasn't quite vegan at the point that I started Food Not Bombs, but I was serving all this vegan food to the homeless, and a lot of the members of Food Not Bombs were vegan. So they shared little tidbits of information with me.
Yeah.
You know, after a while, after getting, you know, a bit of information here, a bit of information there, I basically just kind of pieced everything together, and a bunch of my friends kind of band together and helped me go vegan.
That's sick.
And that's basically how it went. Yeah.
And it essentially was kind of the same thing with Raw, right? You just more and more connected with friends that were going Raw, and they kind of showed you that way, and that kind of was another kind of mind expansion. Hey, I remember you telling me a bit of a story about the first Raw meal you had and a big shift you had in your body.
Oh God, yeah. I woke up in the morning, looked in the mirror, my eyes were glowing.
Yeah.
You know, my eyes were glowing, my skin was glowing, and I could feel it. You know, I was like, what is this energy? What is this feeling? I think anybody who gives raw food a legitimate shot and actually, you know, goes for it will probably feel that feeling. I guess we're all probably different. I guess some people say, oh yeah, it took me a whole month of cleaning out the animal foods and cleaning out this and that, and then I started to feel it. For me, I was already vegan for a couple of years.
Yeah.
3 or 4 years. Had my wisdom teeth cutting in, so they were badly infected. And then I was out in Vancouver with Garrett, a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
And I was touring around with Garrett and his girlfriend and a whole crew of people in his van. our idea was we were going on a skate tour of BC in the Lower Mainland.
The best.
Yeah, we just went and hit like every park between Calgary and Vancouver.
I love that route, man. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it was such a good time. We had such a good time. But I was eating like sugar. My wisdom teeth were cutting in, and my wisdom teeth did not like the sugar.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to Vancouver, I was basically in full-on like abscess wisdom tooth mode. And
Yikes.
swollen, puffy, like throbbing. I'd go for one pump around the skate park, and I'd be like, oh, it felt like searing hot like nails being like pounded into my jaw.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad it felt. And so I called my buddy Trav in Calgary, and I said, well, where can I go eat in Vancouver that's not serving a bunch of, that doesn't serve sugar and doesn't have sugar and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm a big like sugar phobe or anything, but when your wisdom teeth are going off and you put sugar in your mouth, like you can tell. Right?
You're in that time in that zone, and that was what was going on.
Yeah. So I called Trav, and he said, "Well, go to either the Melting Point or the Rooted Cafe."
Yeah.
So I went to the Melting Point and the Rooted Cafe.
Yeah.
And the Rooted Cafe was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. That was like pre-Gorilla Foods.
Yeah.
So when I walked into the Rooted Cafe, this guy behind the counter was the head chef there named Aaron Ash.
Yeah.
And he went
Big ups,
on to, Aaron's such a rad guy.
Totally.
And he went on to create Gorilla Foods, raw vegan restaurant that went for quite a while in Vancouver. Ate my first raw vegan meal, walked into the cafe in pain, sat down, started eating my meal within 5 minutes. The pain in my teeth went from unbearable to completely gone.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice the pain go away. I was in a good mood, just chatting everybody up, and it was pretty cool, actually. I was like, wow, my pain's gone. I didn't even notice it, and not only is my pain gone, but I feel freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a really cool experience, and it's just been a lot of fun ever since.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
mind and body expansion, and just continued from there. And for people that don't know, Dan and I are both from the same place, or grew up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, and actually had a bunch of similar friends, but we never really connected too much back then. And we both got into raw food right around the same time, and lived in a lot of the same places too, because I lived in Vancouver and stuff like that. And it wasn't really until years after going raw that we really connected a whole bunch more and got to know each other more. And it's just so crazy, man. Like, you know, same city growing up, living in some of the same places, into raw food the same time. You know, both of us with 20 years with raw food, and at the same, and skateboarding as well. You know, so it's just so crazy. And it's been such an awesome time getting to know you better and hanging out and skating and stuff more and more over the years. Excited for more with that.
Yeah. Lots more of that to come.
Absolutely. You got to come out here to Sweden. I'm, of course, coming back home. So, but let's dive into this topic, man, because I know, you know, like you have a history with extreme sports. Sorry, I have to always say extreme like that. It's just so fun. But what are some of the shifts that you've noticed with your athleticism, with your recovery, you know, since getting into veganism and into raw food? Because, you know, that was the main reason I actually got into it. You know, of course, animals and all other stuff, but that was a huge reason for me. And I'd love to hear kind of what your experiences have been.
Well, I mean, my story's pretty similar to yours. It seems like we were both kind of eating really crappy 7-Eleven food and like bucket slice pizza in Vancouver.
Much as I possibly could, especially after the bar.
Yeah, right. And drinking a lot. Like drinking's a big culture in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
You know.
And skateboarding too. Alcohol, weed, that's huge with skateboarding for sure.
Yeah, getting trashed and flying off a 10 set.
Yeah. Get wasted.
Bouncing off the ground and not feeling it till you wake up in the morning. I'm gonna adjust my tripods kind of.
I think that leads a lot lot of people to drinking because that's like a way of coping with the pain of skateboarding sometimes for a lot of people, right? Like you smash yourself and it's like, all right, well, let's get wasted and not feel this pain that we felt or celebrate or disassociate, right? But it's definitely a big part of the culture, and I dove headfirst into that for a good period of time.
Oh yeah, with our group of friends, it's how could you not? Everybody's we're all a bunch of wasters, right? So, but yeah, like booze, junk food, and then just kind of like leaving home and moving to other cities to be part of the skateboard scene and not knowing how to feed myself and just eating crappy food. So I didn't really consider myself unhealthy. I just kind of was, I guess. I didn't really feel like I had any underlying health problems, but as soon as I started getting into a healthier lifestyle and cutting out some of those bad foods, it became really clear that I was in pretty bad shape. Maybe not quite, ill, but I mean, I'm pretty sure if I would have continued the life of junk food and booze, I mean, that you can only go so long. Some people go, do okay on it, but
You don't see the inside though, right? I know for myself anyways, like I went from happy and boisterous and recovering well to like depressed and suicidal and like not doing well. And people on the outside thought I was doing, pretty well, but on the inside I was dying. I think a lot of people are on the inside dying and using those and abusing those substances to cover up that pain.
yeah, yeah, completely. So yeah, when I moved to Calgary, I ended up getting a really cool group of friends, mostly from the Food Not Bombs community, and my friend Trav, he was a big mentor to me. Him and a crew of friends that were associated with him basically took me right under their wing, and they were like, we're going to teach you how to make really good food for yourself, for us, for others, for your family, and you're going to be, an awesome chef. And they're just so caring and so loving that, it was just such a good experience. And they really rubbed off on me. So I started hanging out with them, and we'd make healthy meals together. And it was really nice just having a nice crew of people. We'd all go to all the vegan Asian restaurants in Chinatown. And, it was all mostly like kind of junk food or whatever, but
Yeah.
it was really
It was better. It was
food, and
compassionate junk food, right? At least compassionate for the animals. Maybe not quite as compassionate for self, but leaps and bounds above the other stuff, right?
Oh, but I felt so much better on vegan junk food than I did on raw pizza, or not raw pizza, like Vancouver bucket slice pizza.
Yeah.
And, so it was really cool. And then kind of fitting into the raw food and extreme sports side of things. Trav was training Shaolin Wushu Gong with Mr. Tan Chin Hawk in town here. And back then at that time, he was one of 3 Shaolin certified teachers that had their certification papers out of the Shaolin Temple. Nowadays, I think there's a few more Shaolin teachers scattered around outside of Asia because more students have graduated and gotten their papers so they can go teach. But back then, at that time, Mr. Tan was the only Shaolin Wushu teacher in North America. And I think the closest thing to that was like a Wudang Kung Fu school in New York, which I think is where Raekwon and Rizla and all those guys were training.
That's so sick. Cool.
And gotta love it.
Raw, we're gonna
love
give it to you. And they all vegan too.
Yeah, and they're all vegan. Coincidentally, these guys who got into training Wudang Kung Fu got to being vegan, there's definitely a big connection between Buddhist culture
Yeah.
and veganism.
Yeah.
Huge connection. I think they're, in a sense, kind of the godfather of vegan culture, like all around the world. I don't know, like maybe that's a bold statement,
Maybe
but
the Essenes as well, of course. I mean, that might be older as well,
that's
but there's
old school.
so many examples, I think, throughout cultures and history of vegan, or at least, vegetarian too, in some cultures where, maybe they didn't have the accessibility of enough plant foods during all seasons. But it's amazing how people, there's that real connection towards self-mastery, and whether that's martial arts or yoga, spirituality and connections towards veganism. It doesn't matter what tradition you look at, there's a definite connection there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And although like I don't consider myself a Buddhist, although I did study a Buddhist art form,
Mm-hmm.
I practiced Qigong, Tai Chi, a little bit of Shaolin Wushu, Gong Fu, and it's kind of kept me healthy. Like that was basically like, of course there was skateboarding. I've been skateboarding since I was maybe 5 years old, and I'm turning 45 in a couple days here on May 12th, actually.
Nice, nice.
The last day of the bundle, I'm turning 45.
Dang.
But so yeah, I've been skateboarding for 30 some odd years since I was maybe 5, 6 years old.
Yeah,
And
same.
yeah,
We
right.
could have
We're
like a
very,
sheet of our life experiences, and it'd be like almost identical. It's crazy.
very similar. It's kind of strange that we didn't hang out more in Saskatoon, but Saskatoon's kind of an interesting scene because there's so many different scenes and groups, and
Well, yeah, I was North Side Heads, and I mean, for a long time we didn't have cars or anything, so we hooked up with the people that we knew around our school, basically, and like,
yeah,
and we only had the one indoor park in the summer, so
yeah, yeah. Such a stretched out. Saskatoon's very spread out, so like your neighborhood's like pretty far from where I live, and it's
oh yeah, yeah.
just
And I mean, there wasn't we didn't have the Facebook, we didn't have those things. I did
yeah. There's no
when
Facebook.
I was in elementary and when I was in high school in Bishop on the north side. Like, I didn't know people in the school next to me really. Like, we stuck to our little crews. I had a crew of like 6 friends. Some a little bit outside that too, of course. But it wasn't until getting a little bit older and actually having cars and driving around and stuff like that that we really started to connect with people from all over the place.
Yeah, I remember when uh, your video exploded. Your video part exploded on 411.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was cool. I'd already known who you were because we skated a few times in downtown Saskatoon, but
Yeah.
and that was of course before either of us were raw or even vegan. We were probably just still like getting drunk and eating junk.
Yeah, we probably
Uh,
would have made fun of vegans. I did at one point.
yeah, no, before I was vegan, when I was ignorant, I had a friend of mine try to go vegetarian. I was making fun of him super hard.
I thought it was really dumb.
Really dumb. Yeah. It's funny how that happens, right? But when people come at me with that type of stuff, I'm like, 20 years ago, I used to make fun of people too, and I used to think that it was super funny, and this is my perspective now.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when people, come at you with the anti-vegan argument, and they're like, dude, you need to eat some meat. You need to feel some real health. And it's like, okay, dude, I've eaten meat for like 20 years. 20 years of my life. It was garbage. It made me feel like crap.
Yeah.
It's not like it's this, foreign concept, and I've never tried the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's so
I'm gonna
amazing
try
when you actually feel it, right? Like when you actually feel it, when you feel that contrast, and when you actually come to know, like, definitively that you don't need that stuff, and that those animals are sacred and deserving of life as well, and you really connect with them, and and you connect all those dots. It's like, I can't believe people choose that. It blows my mind sometimes, but I was there too, and I thought that I needed it. So like, I actually have compassion for people that genuinely think they need it, and they think we're crazy because they're just doing what they feel they need to survive, and they think we're killing ourselves. But we're on the other side of that, from experiencing it and doing it long term, knowing you don't only not need those things, but life is so much more connected, grounded, and expansive without it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that as far as happiness and mood,
Yeah.
you know, my emotions just brightened right up
Yeah.
the second I made the decision to become vegan.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wasn't even eating a meal. I was just all of a sudden I was like, okay, it's now. I'm gonna do it. I'm vegan now, and this huge wave of just positive energy, glowing energy. It's really hard to describe, and it sounds kind of corny, but like
It's
I
true
just
though.
got splashed by this big wave. Like it's an anointing as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Like they call it being anointed when you're kind of like validated by the Holy Spirit. You get
Yeah.
this big wave of like sometimes it comes in form of like goosebumps or just a really strong, uh, noticeable feeling that you get, and you get it when you do something good. When you clean your room, you can actually get that feeling. When you've helped somebody do something, say help some elderly person do their garden, or you get this good feeling inside.
Yeah.
It's where does that come from, right? It's
Yeah.
amazing. But I
Yeah.
definitely got that feeling, that good feeling, like I had done a major good deed when I became a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there's something to be said about that, and I think that it's something that we might not ever even fully understand in this lifetime. We know something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
When you do something good and you're in service to others, there's some sort of chemical reaction that goes on. Some people call it, like I said, the anointing, right? You're anointed. In yoga tradition, they'd probably say it's your kundalini energy rising. Very wise man came up to me once and he said, "Yeah, I can tell in your aura that you're training Kundalini yoga and breath work and qigong and things like that." And he said, "That stuff's all amazing, but just remember the best way, the, the most true and pure way of raising your Kundalini is just through doing kind acts towards other people."
Service, loving service, right?
Yeah, and that really, really resonated. I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, his name is
Mm-hmm.
Peyton. And I was like, yeah, Peyton's totally right. And this guy was glowing all the time.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. I still bump into him the odd time. But it was just an incredible journey. And then, of course, Trav, he's training the Shaolin Gong Fu, Qi Gong. So
Mm-hmm.
he, like, right away, as soon as I started eating vegan, he started getting me into like qigong and breath
Mm-hmm.
work. So those of you who aren't familiar with qigong or qigong, um, it's basically a series of breath work and energy control.
Mm-hmm.
So it's controlling your energy through movement and utilizing the breath of life and distributing that energy to certain parts of your body for certain reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And you can distribute that energy to certain organs that relate to certain emotions, like your liver is supposed to be the anger.
Yeah.
Your spleen is like, I don't know, like fear, or maybe kidneys are, I think kidneys are fear.
Mm-hmm.
But, every negative emotion has a certain organ associated to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of Qigong works on strengthening the organs and strengthening, those organs. And there's generally an emotional and psychological component to it. And
Yeah.
that's why when we do things like yoga and Qigong are very similar.
Yeah.
We do end up feeling really good.
Yeah.
You're just
Absolutely.
glowing after your yoga class. And you're like, wow,
Yeah.
where's it come from?
Yeah.
It's devotional, and there's, a philosophy behind it of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also getting a workout, which definitely it's going to raise serotonin and boost endorphins.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also you're massaging those organs and working those organs.
Yeah.
These ancient systems are just so technical and so extensive, like how many thousands of years did it take to develop these
Yeah.
amazing systems, right? And apparently the guy who brought qigong and tai chi and kung fu to Asia, because it didn't really start in Asia. I guess the monks were in Asia or in China. Well, I guess it was Asia. I don't want to say, because India is Asia, but Orient, right? So martial arts themselves didn't really originate in the Orient. They came from India. So it was East Indian mystics who came from India to China, most notably Damo or Bodhidharma, who traveled to the Shaolin Mountains in 400 AD.
Wow.
And I guess the reason being is that he was made aware that there was groups of Zen Buddhists in the mountains of Shaolin and around that area. I think basically in all of China. But and I guess he also was aware that there was an impending invasion coming from outside that was basically meant to wipe out all these Zen Buddhists. So he traveled there in 400 AD to basically teach all the Buddhist monks how to be healthy and how to defend themselves. So I guess he first went to the emperor and walked into the emperor's temple, and he's like, Bodhidharma, this East Indian mystic, I'm here to teach you and your military how to fend off this invading army that's going to come in. And so by the time Bodhidharma got to China, he'd been traveling for like however long. I guess he looked pretty haggard and pretty rough. Beard, like nasty matted dreadlocks, kind of like me. But so he shows up at this temple, and the temple is like, "You're not a prince," because I guess Bodhidharma was actually an East Indian prince as well. And the emperor says to Bodhidharma, he's like, "Yeah, you're not a prince. You're some dirty, stinking hippie, Get out of my palace," kind of thing. And I guess Bodhidharma was really, really hurt and like really, really saddened by the experience. So he was like, "Okay, well, if you don't want to, learn from me, I'm gonna go, find smaller groups of Zen Buddhists in the mountains and see if they're open to what I have to share and teach." And then he taught what's known as the 48 Lohan series, which is 48 movements that became Shaolin Kung Fu, Qigong, Tai Chi.
Wow.
And Bodhidharma was historically noted as being a vegan too. As most Buddhists and a lot of the Jain sect of Hindus were vegan, right? So that's kind of the history of Shaolin. And when I became vegan, my friend Travis, he'd been training Shaolin for about 7 years at that point. I think by now he's probably 27 years into intensive Shaolin Wushu training on vegan, raw vegan, and now he's high raw vegan. He's got kids. He basically eats what they don't eat a lot of the time, because how kids are. He's like, "Yeah, I'm high raw, but I'll finish my daughter's potatoes or whatever if she's eating fries or whatever." But so imagine that 27 years into training Shaolin on a vegan diet the whole way through. The way it's kind of meant to be.
No
Shaolin temple, they don't serve any meat in that temple. And a lot of people who say, "Oh, you need meat to be strong and you can't do vegan or whatever," I just throw that up in their face and say, well, there's thousands of monks in Asia who can all bend steel with their hands, punch through cinder blocks, do backhand springs off their head. I think they're the most able-bodied people in the world.
Yeah, functional fitness, right? Just like ridiculous strength and agility and balance and self-mastery at another level, man. When I saw the Shaolins live in Saskatoon, they did a show. It was like, I know I told you about that, but You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's so crazy. The one thing I'll mention about that that just blew me away, and it wasn't even a feat of strength, it was just a feat of like discipline and concentration and perfect balance. The first people that came out on stage, and it was over a 2 hour show, you know, two monks came out on stage. They walked to each side of the stage and they grabbed their foot and like, you know, put it in the full splits above their head and stood on the one leg in the full splits on each side of the stage for the full 2 hours, not moving, just 2 hours just standing there. Just like, I don't know, man. Try and just stand on your one foot for 2 minutes, you know, 3 minutes.
yeah,
Then imagine
yeah.
like that
No,
for
I know.
2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, so cool. Um, yeah, we've got this qigong exercise where you stand on one leg. You can't really see what I'm doing, but you're kind of your legs crossed like this, and then
Yeah.
you're going like this,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
breathing up and down, and even that's pretty hard. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like if I do that too long, like my leg starts wobbling. But it's cool how that balance and that concentration is transferable to skateboarding.
Huge. Yeah.
Because when I started training qigong, my skateboarding got crazy.
Yeah.
Like my ollies got huge.
Yeah.
And you know, you think about what they're doing when they're focusing that chi and that concentration and, you know, like punching through cinder blocks and bricks. You know, that's just mind over matter, you know, and it's really so crazy, you know, because there's so much more going on.
Mhm.
You know, when you see what these people can do with that intense discipline and in that state of meditation, it's just mind blowing. Like it's super
Otherworldly,
human,
right? It's
natural.
otherworldly almost.
It's otherworldly, you know. It's not something that we really see in our day-to-day life. And I feel very fortunate and very blessed that I actually got to experience that and got to train with Mr. Tan and had met Trav and got into that whole scene and that whole culture of veganism through, you know, my group of friends and through martial arts. I think that's a big part of the reason why I've been able to stay raw vegan for so long is because I'm really into it. Like I really love it, and I'm sure like I can tell you do too. I think having that love and that compassion for little guys like Snooter there, you
Lulu.
know, it,
Yeah.
it really goes a long way. Like the reason for being vegan is kind of almost more important than the do's and don'ts in my mind.
Yeah.
Although I'm a pretty damn strict raw vegan.
Mhm.
I think that it's the reason for veganism that really kind of carries us through, not necessarily, you know, although I do believe that the detox side of it is very potent and very practical and very healing. For me, it's more of the reason for being vegan, why I'm actually vegan. I'm not vegan so I can just detox my body,
No.
you know. It's more than that to me. It's the energy of compassion. I think there's a frequency in that emotion that really kind of heals us too on many different levels.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
So
mean, veganism at its core isn't at all about diet. It's about compassion for all living beings, right? Including ourselves. And I mean, I resonate the same thing. Like, veganism is the absolute backbone and core of my existence, you know, trying to live and breathe compassion as much as I can. You know, we all have our moments and things come up and stuff, but raw food to me is, you know, just to feel best for myself, right? And it just so also happens to be the most compassionate choice, you know, causing the least amount of death as well as the least amount of environmental impact. So it's like, you know, loving self, loving nature, loving animals, and it just goes so dang well with veganism at the same time, right?
yeah, yeah, it's a good life. It's a good life. And I mean, I still keep doing it. It still gets exciting. You know, you know, it's been really good.
You know, it's really
You know, and like
interesting. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, and like as far as like the food aspect of it, it's still exciting, right? Because there's so many different types of plants out there and fruits and vegetables, and like I'm finding new things that I've never even seen before. Like this is some crazy fruit that I've never even seen before.
The quince?
I think it is. It's like an apple-ish
Yeah.
relative, but I guess it's more
Yeah.
bitter.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I think it's a quince.
I think it's Quince. I got this at the Caspian grocery store down the street. But it's funny because I saw some meme on Instagram, and it was Jesus holding a mango,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, interesting. I wonder what fruits and vegetables were around at the time of Jesus. So I googled it. I was like, what type of fruits and vegetables were around like when Jesus was around? Like, what types of fruits did the guy eat?
Mm.
And this was one of the ones that came up. It said dates, olives, quince, some other stuff.
Mm.
And the next day, I go to the Caspian market and I find a quince or whatever this is, right? So pretty cool. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it though. I guess it's pretty bitter, and
Yeah.
I think they usually cook them.
Yeah.
But I'm going to. I'm just gonna cut it and pickle it.
Yeah. Nice, nice. Yeah, get some fermentation going on. You know, I was just thinking it's really cool, kind of with this topic of raw food and extreme sports. Obviously, skateboarding and snow skating and stuff, it's a pretty yang sport. You know, they're mostly like really intensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then things like qigong and especially restorative forms of yoga, and I mean compassion. All these things are more yin, you know. And how do you think? How important do you think it is to have that balance for longevity with sports that are more yang and really intense on your body and really like explosive.
Well,
Because I
it's
mean,
funny because the like whenever I've gone to a yin yoga class and I go to the skate park after,
hmm,
my style is just so yin
yeah,
that
yeah,
I dump
chill,
everything really smooth and go
yeah,
bigger. And I'm just like more in flow with my movements. So,
yeah,
you know, I'll basically just kind of like pop and then just catch, but gently, right?
yeah,
Like very gentle. Yin, I call it yin style
yeah.
after a yoga class when I'm at a skate park. So,
That's sick.
yeah,
That's so sick. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I've found like for so long I was just yang, 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 like power yoga and skateboarding and all these intense things. And it wasn't until I slowed down and introduced a little bit more yin into my lifestyle, whether that's just slower forms of yoga that aren't necessarily quite as like muscle, right? And slowing down that it allowed a deeper healing, more relaxation. And I definitely know that if you're more relaxed, as you said, kind of the yin style of skateboarding, you're much less likely to be injuring yourself as opposed to being rigid and stiff and intense,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was thinking about something too the other day. You know how when we're meditating, we kind of go into stasis, right? Like homeostasis, where our body can like heal, repair, work on itself,
Mhm.
do what it needs to do. But if we're stressed and if we're in fight or flight,
Yeah,
our body's not gonna like assimilate nutrients as
absolutely.
well. You kind of
Yeah,
say when you're doing yoga, a lot of people develop what's known as like the soft body, right? You get like a
yeah,
soft layer of tissue on you, but they also kind of relates to like the soft emotional body
yeah,
too. So not
yeah,
only do you get a soft body physically, but you get the softness of emotion
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
It's really cool. Did you notice like what were the differences that you noticed in your skateboarding ability when you first went raw? What were some of the key things you
Well,
noticed?
when I first, when I was getting into it, I was overcoming joint pain and, depressive tendencies and stuff like that. So I just started to feel more loving of life and loving of myself. I mean, you can't help but feel that when you're filling yourself with Mother Nature's love, right? As opposed to things that don't really serve you quite as much. But also my joint pain slowly but surely went away. And I just felt more energy. Like I wanted to be active all the time. And it was good, but also because I didn't really understand caloric density, I was like, it was crazy, man. The first 6 months of raw food, I was like biking around because I just love to bike and go up hills in Vancouver and stuff like that. I was biking around like generally 2, 3 hours a day, and then I'd be skateboarding as much as I could too, usually a couple hours a day. And I got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. until my joint pain then came back again because I got down to like over 20 pounds lighter than I am now.
Mhm.
And then I learned about caloric density and I understood, the requirements that I actually had and adding in more dense meals like banana meals and stuff like that. And then that helped me gain a little bit of weight, which also helped with, not only the musculature, but also the fluids between the joints, and the joint pain again went away. But I mean, over the long term, I've definitely found that it helps with endurance. It helps, especially with recovery. Like I know I recover way better than I would. And I mean, at 43, I don't recover like I was when I was 15, but probably more like I should have in my 20s, or late teens, So, yeah, it's definitely recovery and just lightness and feeling good in my body and wanting to move instead of thinking I should move. I think that's a big thing. I think, like when we're young, we have that expansiveness and we want to play, we want to move around. But as we start to bung ourselves up and build layers upon ourselves, we start to feel like I don't want to move as much. My body feels heavy, my joints hurt. I just want to relax and sleep. And, we feel like we should. And people have a hard time doing activities that they love because they feel like they should, but they don't genuinely want to as much anymore. And that's something that I think raw food and veganism has helped me so much, just keeping up with that lightness of feeling and wanting to move, wanting to play, wanting to expand.
Yeah, I noticed before you were vegan,
Mm.
you were a lot smaller frame. You had a lot smaller of a frame.
Yeah.
Like you were a slender
Yeah.
guy, like more
String
like
bean.
my build.
Yeah.
And then you became raw vegan, and you slowly just started to like really bulk up.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And I've seen other examples of that. Like Ted Carr
Yeah.
will show his before I was vegan picture. He's super slender, and now he's been like raw vegan 10, 12 years,
Yeah.
and he's like bulked right up. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It's I genuinely find it easier to do because just again you recover faster, so that means you can actually do more volume, right? And for me, that's been the big thing with gaining a little bit of size. I don't consider myself big in terms of, if you look at weightlifters and stuff like that, but in terms of raw vegans and vegans, I have a decent build and I carry weight and muscle and I'm pretty strong. I think that this lifestyle affords you the ability to be the strongest pound per pound that you possibly can be, which in any sport, that's an advantage. You don't want to really be carrying excess weight unless you're a bodybuilder. That's really the only situation you want like lots of excess weight. I've been 20 pounds heavier, or maybe actually now where I'm at, I think about 17 pounds heavier. For most people, that might be about 7.5, 8 kilos, 8 kilos or something like that, heavier, just pure muscle, still low body fat percentage. But the only reason why I've been able to really do that easily is I want to move and I want to challenge my body, like I think whether we're talking about our body or even our digestion, I think growth comes with some challenge. You don't want just the absolute easiest things all the time. So
Yeah.
I've, ever since I started with raw food, like I do some calisthenics, but my mode has always been play, man. Like I don't do things like in my mind, like, okay, well, I got to do this more and more and more and like hating it. It's like, okay, I want to do that. Okay, let's do it until I don't really enjoy doing it anymore. And that even carries over skateboarding. Like, I'll admit when I was younger, sometimes I'd skate more frequently for say 3 or 4 hours straight. And these days, sometimes I skate an hour, sometimes I skate 2 hours, and on the odd occasion it might be 3 or 4 hours. But once I get to that point where I'm like, okay, that was enough. Like I'm done and I don't need to do anymore. It's like there's that sense of joy and play and having fun.
Yeah, that's where I've kind of gotten with snow
Yeah.
skating. You know, I snow skating is relatively new to me. I've been doing it for about 20 years, but they've only been allowing them on the resorts for the past, few years.
Mhm.
So as soon as they allow the snow skate on the resort, I'll show people what it is. If people are unfamiliar with snow skating, but this is so basically what it is it's a sub. So you got your underneath
Nice stickers.
board.
Mhm.
Raw advantage sticker there. Oh yeah, I got the peaceful and seasonal fruit on it.
All day, every day.
But And then this is one that I'm just setting up. So you bolt your sub to your top deck, and I'm gonna have to get some grip tape. It's like rubber cleated grip tape. And this is what I rip on the ski hill.
That's
And there's
sick.
no binding, so I'm free to kick flip, heel flip. I'm just basically working on all the tricks that I've ever done on a skateboard on the ski hill. So this is my baby.
Yeah.
This is a Squampton OG baby gangster sub.
Yeah.
So these guys are a Canadian company. So this is made from bamboo and hemp. So
That's so sick.
as environmentally friendly as they can. But yeah, like now that I snow skate, like for the past 5 years, I was living out in Banff, had a season's pass. I'd be on the hill every day before work. And it got pretty intense like that. It was like I was a kid skateboarding where I was doing like 6-hour sessions, just wrecking myself, sometimes like not even enjoying myself, getting like loving it so much that you're doing it so much that it's not even enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I know
yet,
what that is.
if you want that trick so bad.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of years ago, one day I went up with my GoPro. I'd just gotten my GoPro. I set it up on a pole, set it up by this big, beautiful, natural windlet, natural booter in fresh powder. And I was just trying to get the perfect kick flip.
Yeah.
Nice high. I think I eventually got it.
Yeah.
It was like a 10-foot long kick flip on my powder board.
Oh my God, that'd be so fun.
It was nuts. But it took me 6 hours to get that. Filming on my GoPro, like 4 hours into it, I was just screaming and yelling and, almost crying because I was trying so hard to get that kickflip.
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of more mellow. I'm like, yeah, I'll go up the hill. I'll shred, in the morning for a few hours. Then I'll go into the coffee shop and drink tea and have some bananas and socialize on the hill. So it's kind of same as skateboarding, right? Kind of when you're a kid, you get so into it that you're screaming and yelling at your skateboard and throwing it on the ground, and then you kind of down out a little bit. But,
yeah, I still find myself there sometimes, but it's a little bit fewer and further between, and then find the joy in it more often. But when you're pushing yourself, right? That's what it is, right? When you really want to accomplish something and you're trying and trying and you're pushing yourself, and it's like testing your mental, emotional, physical self like to the utmost limits. It's you can almost go mental. I mean, I've definitely gone mental, and I've seen people like completely lose it, but
leaders have gone mental and lost it.
Yeah.
Trying to land certain tricks.
Yeah.
And it is really quite funny. It just goes to show how passionate we are, though, and how much love we have for the sport. And,
how important do you think it is for a raw food lifestyle to have something like that outside of raw food that you're like passionate about, that allows you to express yourself and also allows you to like be physical and like, have physicality and test your physical self?
I think it's like almost essential. I want to say, because the raw food, it's had such a good effect on our system and our body and our mind that you kind of got to do something with that, right? I think that inactivity is a recipe for depression, and being social as well, going out and meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I consider myself an introverted extrovert, if that makes any sense. So I can kind of go both ways. I can be really social. I can be the life of the party, but sometimes, it'll be my own birthday party or something, and I'll just want to be by myself.
Yeah.
And I kind of really go back and forth.
Yeah.
But I think that, as far as socially, like the social aspect of my life got way better when I became vegan, and then when I became raw vegan. And I think that's a big misconception people have, because a lot of people like picture it in their mind the other way, in reverse. They're like, I'm going to go vegan and everybody's going to hate me and I'm going to have no friends because I don't eat meat.
Yeah.
When in reality, actually, when you go vegan, my buddy Ben, actually my snow skater buddy Ben, just popped on.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my new setup, Ben. My new
That's sick.
parkour. Yeah, Ben's rad. Ben's been snow skating for like 20 years. And he rides these big, giant powder boards called Pro Board Designs.
Oh.
So it's like a massive pow deck for those like waist deep Bubba powder days. I'm getting one. I'm getting one on my birthday actually. But yeah, as far as like the social aspects surrounding veganism, when I went vegan, I was so excited about it, and I was, training the qigong, training the wushu, skateboarding lots, and training those art forms. They put your mind into a zen state, and just the diet, the compassion, even if people think that veganism is the stupidest thing in the world, if you're pumping that vibe out, somebody's going to feel that around you. And I think it depends on how well you're pumping that vibe too, Say you are vegan and you're struggling and you're just depressed and you're bitter and you're treating people like shit, people are going to feel that too.
Absolutely.
But with me, like when I went vegan, because I was so much happier, I was quite a bit more fun to be around. And my social life just took off after that. I was, going out more frequently, even going to like places where people are drinking their face off, like at our reggae night, the Dub at the Pub thing we have going on. Like I'd go there, I'd show up completely sober, and I'd show up completely sober and be completely. Oh, what happened there?
Oh no, I see you. Everything looks good on my side.
Yeah. My keyboard popped up.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So I can see myself. I'd show up at the bar and be completely sober and just loving it. I felt like I was the highest person there.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it too is like, if you're not making meals and foods and things to share, like for me, when I'm out snow skating, I'll bring little cakes and desserts and things. Ben hates it because we're supposed to be shredding and I'm all like in the trees taking pictures and my food.
I love it.
It's funny, but I just think it's, if you have something to kind of share and show and offer, whether it's introducing them to a new fruit or some durian. Like lately, I've been bringing durians to the skate park. Sharing them, like giving a piece of durian to at least someone or some new person. Like I'll show up at the skate park, and all the young skater kids will just like be gathering around because I walked in with the durian.
Yeah.
And
same experience, brother. It's the best to share, right? I mean, this lifestyle is so incredibly powerful and ripples out to everything, like absolutely everything. It sounds to me like not only did you have the experience of feeling better and just more joyous and happy, but you were just confident that it was a powerful, important message. So you wanted to live it and exhibit it, not to be afraid and think that you're a weirdo and close up and, have people looking at you like, oh, I don't want to live like that.
I could almost call that the number one biggest mistake on a vegan lifestyle or raw vegan lifestyle is being like ashamed or shy or, or insecure.
Shaming other people, hey? Or even shaming or guilting other people at the same time.
Yeah, no, we are, right? So it's just, having that confidence and that love for it, and then just kind of doing it up in style too is a big part. People like that, but I mean, if I would have listened to what the naysayers say, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to be vegan. People are going to hate me. My family's going to hate me. I'm not going to have any fun. And it's, I guess, like mindset is so important. Positive, the power of positive thought is just so important on this lifestyle. it's almost more important than what we eat or what approach to raw food we take, whether we're juice, like fruitarians or into fasting, or say we like to eat some like burgers or raw pizza or something. I think that our attitude towards being vegan and our attitudes towards ourselves is really, really important, actually. And, um, like it almost, say that could be take home, like my take home message of the life is that, just to be confident and take pride in what you're doing and enjoy it, right? And make it enjoyable for ourselves. And that comes with having a sense of community and sense of connection to our community. Because I know, like, for vegan friends that I actually hang out with, I'd say probably Trav, my buddy Juan. There's a skater guy named Juan who I skate with now. He's super cool. He's super good, actually. But I don't really have that many friends. I'm sure there's more. I got a pretty good crew. But most of my friends all eat meat. Like they're just all on like a regular standard diet. A lot of them try to eat healthy, but they're all cool with meat.
Yeah.
It's not like nobody's gonna actually stop being your friend. Some people might. There might be a few of those people. But if they're gonna judge me on what I eat, they're gonna judge every other aspect of my life. They're gonna judge me from head to toe, anyways. And the friendship probably wouldn't have lasted long, anyways. Because even if I wasn't vegan, they'd probably be like, "Oh, your skateboard's stupid," or like, "Why do you have your setup like that?" Or
That's their stuff anyway, right? That's it's like, I mean, some of that stuff, it's other people's stuff. You can't control that, but any separation that you're creating in your life is really on you, right? It's like your mindset, and if you're judging or if you're pushing away or if you're, putting yourself on a high horse and this and that, like I would definitely agree, man. I think that's just such an important aspect of the social atmosphere is, what are we creating? Are we creating a more loving, compassionate, embracing, community, or are we closing people out and pushing people away and judging and, actually creating that separation ourselves?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm really excited to start traveling a little bit more and actually meet more of the raw vegan community, right? Meet more of the vegan community. I know, like, guys like you and Ronnie from the UK Fruit Fest, like, you guys have been to like every fruit festival in the past like 13 years. Like, you've got to experience all of it, like everybody. Like, what's it like actually being part of that like big hub of fruit festivals and all that? Because that's what I've got my own really cool crew up here in Calgary, and I'm blessed to connect with you over Christmas when we're both in Saskatoon. And but like, what's it like to actually hang out with that many people? Where I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard like, okay, well, it's the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, and
for me, honestly, it's always just been like a big warm hug. It's just like a warm hug, and it's like a place of non-judgment. I've heard other people say the opposite, but I've never really experienced that. For me, it's just like a warm embrace, and also just a charging hub, like a place where we can all come together and have no questions, no like, we're not asking like, why are you eating that much, or like, are you sure you can eat that much fruit? That's not dangerous, It's like we're just there to help and to share experiences and to enjoy each other and to grow in similarities and compare some differences. Sure, some people weigh the differences more than the similarities, and then they have that experience. But for me, it's always been about really focusing in on the strengths and the similarities, and then openly discussing difference of view, but at the same time embracing each other as family, and it's a beautiful thing. And like I said, I think it's like a recharge. It's like, we come together to make our fire light higher and our bonfire brighter, and so that we can share that out with the rest of the world, because obviously the rest of the world really needs this, and it's through coming together and sharing those experiences, thoughts, philosophies, whatever it may be, that we can be even a more clear signpost and also a finger direction towards that moon, as Bruce Lee says, right? Just shining it out for everyone. So
So,
I love it, man. It's beautiful.
so what city in the world did you find had the coolest raw food community out of any other place? It's probably going to be, this is going to be a tough question, but,
Yeah, because
or what's your top few, your top three, your top five, or whatever?
it is really tough because I mean I would say like New York, but it was partially also because it was around the festival time, so there'd be so many raw foodists there, right? Um,
That sounds
you know,
awesome.
it is super super awesome, and I mean I don't know. I feel community everywhere I go, and I feel so blessed by extreme sports, by skateboarding, because it's a family, and no matter where I go, I feel like there is family and there's community and the larger human family. The only separation again I think is in our mind. So I strive not to create that separation. So I always feel like I'm in community, but yeah, as far as like an abundance of raw fooders, it's just generally around. The festival times that I just meet up with more, or otherwise when I've traveled and I've blown the horn and said, let's get together for Fruit Luck, and you come together with like a bunch of people. I loved it in Barcelona. It was amazing there. I love it here in Sweden. I got a real cool crew. I really enjoyed it in Bali, but a lot of the times, man, when I'm on those travel tips, my first go-to is for skateboarding or surfing. So I'm focusing more on that and that family than necessarily always trying to reach out to raw foodies. But the raw food festivals have been where I've come together with the largest groups of raw foodists, and that's been all over the world.
And yeah, and I guess that's kind of where it can kind of surprise some people because, a guy like me who has my like tight crew of vegans that I'm blessed to have,
Yeah.
and my friends that I've been with forever, the way I like picture it is that I just go to someplace like the Woodstock Food Festival and it's like this raw food heaven. Everybody's like, and I just sort of blindly assume that I'm going to connect with everybody on the same level that I connect with all my friends who are vegan, raw vegan, or carnivore, or eat whatever, right? But I guess in reality, when you do go into a situation like that, just because you're eating raw food, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have really anything in common.
Well,
Um,
I mean, I'll honestly actually disagree. I think because
See,
yeah,
I'm
just
just
because
guessing, like
yeah,
I'm just yeah, but
I mean, obviously it's all what we bring to it, and we're all human, right? So people are going through their own stuff, and
yeah,
people are at different stages of their awareness and their willingness to be open and connect and communicate, and their own level of judgment of self and judgment of other people. So there's everything in everyone, but at the same time, everyone is there because they want to improve themselves. Everyone's there because they have a passion for compassion and deeper connection to self and growing through the abundance that Mother Nature has for us. So that's been one thing that I've always experienced in every raw food festival, just an overwhelming sense of expansiveness, of deeper connection, and wanting to share and grow and spread this message out further. So while there might be some on the outskirts or some, a little bit deeper within themselves, there still is that seed and that big kind of larger essence that I've always felt at every fruit festival I've been to around the world.
no, that sounds awesome. I'm really looking forward to traveling around and meeting more people in the community, meeting more raw vegans, and just people of all diets and lifestyles who are just cool and open to being raw vegan. And then I guess the other part of it is it's not really necessarily all the vegans that we necessarily need to reach. I think a lot of our mission is kind of being around people of all different diets and lifestyles, and giving them a chance to, to be exposed to our lifestyle, you know, and that's part of it too. I mean, I think the more open you are to connection, the easier it is to connect with really unlikely people who just seem like they wouldn't even be. Like, actually, when people meet my friends, they're actually really surprised by who I hang out with.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends are just full on into barbecue, and that's their best thing is they have their barbecue, and they're like, a lot of my friends are actually kind of basically like borderline redneck, and and we get along just fine, but we have
Yeah.
other interests, and it's important to be able to connect with all these different people on all these different levels, and not just be cool with the raw vegans,
Of
or
course.
vegetarians,
The bigger
you
family, right? The bigger family.
bigger family. And it's just, it's good to be all things to all people in a certain sense, you know. And when I say that, I don't mean, go do a line of coke at a party or something, or
3 lines.
three minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I was first going raw, and when I was going to festivals and parties,
Yeah.
I drink yerba mate,
Yeah.
and have some mate and some fruit, which, like, that. It's a plant, it's a tea, but like, that shit gets you going.
Yeah, it's
like
intense. Yeah. I've done that with kombuchas.
Yeah, no, we were crushing kombuchas over Christmas, so it's awesome.
Yeah. You know my trick too. I used to go to parties and I bring a 40 bottle in a paper bag, just like I used to with the 40s of beer, but I'd fill it up with orange juice or banana smoothies and not say a word, just pretend I'm drinking the same stuff anyway, right? But if someone wants a sip, it's like, yeah, try this. This is the hard stuff, right? It's like kind of like you said before. It's all the energy we bring into it, and having a fun time and just connecting in general, right? It's only makes this lifestyle a lot easier and a lot more fun. I actually have one last question before, because we're at an hour and 15. Actually, I have a live in 15. But how do you think, yes, man, how do you think, the skateboard, snow skate, kind of like, sports community has shifted in terms of being more open and embracing, health and wellness, as opposed to, like we said before, in the 90s, early 2000s, it was all about who could get the most wasted almost, What do you think about that?
Like, as far as the sports community, like the global sports community, like, I'm just trying to think of some of the people who are athletes who have really, really crushed it in the past 5-10 years. I mean, like, isn't Mike Tyson vegan now or something?
He was, but he started adding meat back in because he started training again. He obviously didn't have the best info, but he felt he needed it. But as far as I understand, I don't know exactly right now, but I know at one point he added some back in for training when he started fighting again.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. There's a few UFC fighters that are vegan that have done some
Crushed
amazing
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Patrick?
that Patrick Bowman, Bowman or whatever.
He was the world's strongest man for at least one period of time.
Yeah, he was winning all those world records.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see more of that.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see more of that, and I guess even like Carl Lewis and Ben Johnson were both vegan when they won the gold, and I guess they both won the gold during the '88 Olympics.
Yeah. Serena Williams, I believe, and her sister. Serena Williams. As far as I understand, I could be mistaken, but I'm 99% sure, at least for a good period.
I'll have to research her, actually. I don't know much about her. But yeah, so I think that, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
And like, let's face it, like us raw vegans and just veganism in general, on social media, on this particular platform, we've had a really good run, And I think that we're spreading the message very effectively, and we're spreading it to such a high degree that there's people who are loving it, who are getting into it, but there's also that other side to it that are like, what the heck's going on, and you're seeing all sorts of other like kind of things pop up, like the carnivore thing is kind of big, and I think to me that almost seems like people who like to eat meat saw how much damn fun we were having on Instagram and showing our stuff, and they're like, hey, let's start our thing or whatever. But it's also kind of interesting because even though the carnivore diet's a thing, it seems like a lot of those people are just people looking for answers to health problems.
Yeah.
So in a sense, we're kind of coming from a similar place, just different.
People just want to feel good, right? They want to they want to find answers. They want to do things that make them feel better, more connected, stronger.
Yeah, that's kind of off topic, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
Is there like I've come across a lot of carnivore accounts. It's kind of funny because I've actually been at the bottom of my hashtags. I've been putting all my raw vegan stuff, but then I put keto, carnivore diet,
Nice.
grass fed, and free range, and then I write just kidding in big letters with a big laughing, smiling face.
Well, you're gonna get more people coming at you then for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get some hate. They'll click on my post. That looks freaking amazing. Boom. It's vegan. What the hell?
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little joke I'm playing on myself.
Planting seeds. Planting seeds.
Planting seeds though, right? Because like a year or so ago, I was hashtagging keto. I was getting tons of love from all these keto pages.
Yeah.
They had me in this keto chat room,
Yeah.
and like I was just biting my tongue the whole time. I was like, "Don't type it, don't type it."
Yeah.
Eventually, I kicked out of the chat, but it was super funny while it lasted.
That comes pretty round circle here because in the beginning you're talking about doing some gardening and planting seeds, and that's what this is all about. That's why we're all coming together with the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle to spread the things that have lit us up, that have helped us out, and to hopefully sow some seeds in some fertile ground and some non-fertile ground that maybe will sprout in years to come, right? But I know both of us agree that this is a powerful, powerful way of living, a powerful message that can not only help transform ourselves, but help transform the world. And it's just so important. So I just want to acknowledge you, brother. You're you're awesome, and always love connecting. And it's definitely been a pleasure connecting here today. I got to get going because I got my other live here pretty darn soon. But thanks to everyone who joined us here. Apologies if we didn't get to every question, but you have any kind of closing thoughts before we close this up?
I know. I was just gonna say maybe I'll watch the live and I'll scroll through the questions, and I'll go back and respond to all your questions in the comment section.
Love it.
Because I realized we just started
just
going, and we didn't even look at the comment section. I was like, oh wait, yeah, there's comments.
Yeah.
We have a comment section. People comment.
I will mention a very recent comment is right there. Either you ever do any parasitic detoxes? I haven't done detoxes, but I've eaten anti-parasitic foods. I mean, coconuts, pumpkin seeds, even like noni. I've had periods of time where I ate lots of noni, hot peppers and stuff like that. A lot of those foods grow more abundantly in tropical areas where there's more chance of, being in contact with parasites and stuff like that. But I've never had any need to do like a dedicated cleanse, nor am I really drawn to, the kind of cleanse kits and stuff. I'd rather just eat the natural foods unless I did a stool test and had a very specific parasite that was known and I knew a protocol for it. But what about you?
Same. I mean, I did the master cleanse once.
Yeah. 14
days on lemon juice and cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
And maple syrup.
Yeah.
Felt pretty good, but at the same time, I could see how people could just really kind of get sort of stuck on that and maybe only do the cleansing and the juices and things like that, and then completely forget about all these delicious, amazing, beautiful, foods. Yeah. I think a lot of it is I like chewing food.
Yeah.
And I like food, It's raw vegan food, it's full of enzymes, it's got life force in it.
Yeah.
But I just really like eating food. I think in certain cases for certain chronic illnesses, right on. To use it as kind of a vice. I think it can become a bit of a vice.
For sure. It can be an addiction. It can be a racket, a money-making racket. It can be a lot of things, right? But it's,
Yeah, pretty much the same opinion. That you have. That's my experience with it. And I just like to eat food, make sure I'm getting enough calories to, and, cleanse, detox, okay, great, short period of time, achieve your objective. But what I see is people just going on these big, long fasts and juice fasts for months on end, multiple times a year, multiple drive, 30-day drive.
Yeah.
fasts in
Can't
1 year
promote that
period.
myself. Yeah.
And it's like, where are the calories coming from? Because there is a component to, you know, that side of health where you need
Yeah.
a certain amount of calories, you
Oh,
know.
for sure. I mean, rounding it right back to extreme sports and stuff like that, we're talking about physicality and being here in the world and, doing things we love and expressing our bodies and challenging our bodies. And part of that is actually, eating enough and, not trying to rush to spirit, to actually be here in physicality because we're here for a reason. I believe part of it is to explore the spiritual, but also to be rooted in our physicality and have fun and enjoy and connect and grow all together. But I'm gonna round it out right here, brother. Always much love, and thanks so much for coming on here.
Wes.
Much love, guys. As always, wishing you much peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
Don't hesitate and miss your chance to get the biggest, best raw vegan bundle of the year, the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. 33 brand new ebooks and courses for only $50. Grab it today.